Richmond, the capital of Virginia, a proper noun in a geography book, but to its residents, Richmond is a state of mind, an adjective.
So you're thinking about moving to Richmond. Maybe that's for a job or for family, or maybe it's just for the affordability. Whatever the reason is, I know that there is a ton of information online, some true and some false. So as a Richmond native, I am here to answer the question, what is it like actually living in Richmond? So today we are compiling a list of the top most questions asked by our relocation clients to give you the ultimate guide to living in Richmond. All right, so the number one question I get asked is, where should I live in Richmond? Where are the good places to live in Richmond? And honestly, it's just so subjective to what lifestyle you're looking for. Maybe you're looking for proximity to downtown, or maybe you want to be in a planned community with a big backyard and a community pool. Or maybe you want a walkable neighborhood with lots of restaurants and coffee shops. Or it could be lots of land with horses or on the golf course. There's a lot of things to think through there, but let's talk first things first. Let's talk affordability. The average sales price for a single-family home in the Richmond metro area, which is made up of Richmond City, Chesterfield County, Henrico County, and Hanover County, is $521,000. So to find those more affordable areas, let's first look at how many properties are on the market in these localities. When you look at properties for sale under $521,000 in Chesterfield County, there's 110 homes for sale. In Hanover County, there's 154 homes for sale. And in Richmond City, that number goes up to 286 homes for sale under that $521,000 mark. It drops down to 178 for Henrico. So if you're looking for something more affordable, Richmond City might be the way to go. Between all four of these localities, there's currently 1,200 homes for sale on the market. So if proximity to the city is important to you, but maybe you're looking for more of that suburban feel, we also have that in this area around Bon Air. That could be a good sweet spot. I will say that most people are trying to avoid Richmond City taxes, and that is something that comes into consideration when choosing where to live. So, for example, Richmond City taxes is $1.20 per $100. So what that means is if you have a $500,000 house in the city of Richmond, your annual taxes will be $6,000 versus if you had that same house in Henrico, the taxes would be $4,350. Now, if you're looking for more of an affluent neighborhood, we would just take that same method and reverse it. When you're looking at Area 20, the average sales price is around $1 million. Here you'll find gated communities and more established neighborhoods, as well as some teardowns and newer condos, and really everything in between. One of the things I love about Richmond is how diverse our real estate here is. You have affordable new construction as well as ultra luxury custom new construction. You also have historic homes as well as teardowns and more modern and contemporary homes filled in the city. You have golf course frontage and lake frontage and everything in between. So to recap the whole real estate conversation, it really comes down to lifestyle. Are you looking for walkability, or are you looking for more of that suburban feel? Or maybe you want both. Whatever it is, I'm sure Richmond has something to offer you, and if you reach out, we would be happy to help you get that dialed in, but that's definitely a consideration you'll want to make. So let's talk about jobs. What kind of jobs are there in Richmond? Well, Richmond's actually home to 8 Fortune 500 companies, and according to the Wall Street Journal, Richmond has one of the hottest job markets in the country. The Wall Street Journal worked with Moody Analytics to study roughly 380 metropolitan areas and rank them based on 5 factors: unemployment rate, the labor force participation rate, employment level changes, labor force size, and wages. Richmond ranked number 11, notably beating out both DC and Raleigh. So what's driving all of the job growth here? Number 1, affordability and proximity. Richmond has a 4% lower cost of living than the national average, and with great proximity to larger metropolitan areas such as DC, this makes this an ideal location for large companies to invest in. Also, with the rise in work from home options, so many employers are offering, we've seen a ton of relocation from major metropolitan areas like DC, Boston, and New York. Richmond's actually only an hour and a half train ride to DC or an hour and a half plane ride to New York or Boston. So if you're working out of one of those metropolitan areas and you can commute every so often, Richmond might still actually be a great option for you. Which leads me to my next question I get all of the time, which is, what is the traffic like in Richmond? And I am here to tell you, Richmond has next to no traffic, which is one of the biggest selling points. I like to say that you can get anywhere around Richmond in 25 minutes or less. But Richmond is a very car-dependent city. We do have plenty of walkable neighborhoods like the Fan and Jackson Ward where you can walk or bike to coffee shops or maybe even work. But as a whole, you'll want a car to get around Richmond. As far as other means of transportation goes, Richmond has been heavily investing in creating more bike lanes to make Richmond more of a bikeable city, as well as investing millions in the Pulse system, which is the bus that runs from Richmond's east end to Richmond's west end. But like I said, Richmond is very much still a car-dependent city. Notably, you also have a train that runs up and down the East Coast, and we have a high-speed rail that is currently under construction from Richmond to Raleigh. There's a high-speed connection from DC to New York, but if we could get one from Richmond, that would be a game changer. Okay, so what are the good schools in Richmond? Let's get into what are the good schools and the bad schools. Actually, as a realtor, because of our code of ethics, I am not allowed to talk about what are the good or bad schools. I'm not allowed to say because you come from this background, you might like this school, or because you're going to live in this area, you should look at this school, due to steering, which I think is largely a good thing. But what I can tell you is that we have a ton of great public and private options. If you're looking for pre-elementary or adult education, or if you're looking for trade schools, we have that as well. We have IB programs and specialty centers like language immersion or STEM programs. We also have the lottery for public schools. So maybe you don't live in a school district that you like, you can apply for the lottery and your child can potentially go to a different public school of your choice. We also have 3 four-year universities. We have one of the best art schools and medical colleges in the entire country at VCU. And so depending on where you're looking for you or your child, there are a ton of educational options here. A good resource for school rankings is greatschools.org if you're looking for more information on your public school options. So let's talk about things to do in Richmond and around Richmond. There are endless amounts of things to do in Richmond. Honestly, I don't really even know where to begin. CNN actually ranked Richmond as the #1 city to visit in 2024. Richmond is a huge foodie town with multiple nationally recognized restaurants like Metzger's and the Roosevelt. And we have a big beverage scene as well with 30 craft breweries on what we call the Beer Trail. You'll find many of these breweries in the trendy neighborhood called Scott's Addition, designated as Richmond's craft beverage capital. If you're looking for art and history, look no further. Richmond has over 150 murals, numerous art galleries, as well as the Virginia Museum of Fine Arts with exhibits that are constantly changing and fun programming like After 5 Fridays, where there's a DJ playing and you can bring a picnic blanket and enjoy a glass of beer or wine. There's multiple guided tours of Richmond's historic neighborhoods that are steeped in history around the Civil War as well as the Revolutionary War. There's also the American Civil War Museum, the History Museum, the Black History Museum, as well as the Science Museum. If you're looking for things to do outside, we really have endless options there as well. There are festivals and outdoor concert series happening almost every weekend, like the Folk Festival, Friday Cheers, and the Music at Maymont. You also have the Flying Squirrels minor league baseball team that's getting a brand new stadium that's set to break ground any day now. But my favorite thing about Richmond is the river. You have the James River Park system with Class 5 rapids and more than 20 miles of running and biking trails. There are multiple marinas if you're looking to keep your boat somewhere, as well as guided kayak tours, rafting tours, paddle boards that are available for rent, and so much more. There are endless amounts of parks and playgrounds, the most notable being Maymont, which is a sprawling 100-acre estate in the middle of the city with a waterfall, trails, and animals that you can feed and observe. They're actually unveiling the Virginia Wildlife Trail this fall with over 300 native and domestic animals. You also have Lewis Ginter Botanical Gardens, which is home to 50 acres of lush gardens you can walk through. And most recently, in eastern Henrico, we have Taylor Farms, which is home to a skate park, BMX track, and a playground with multiple water features. And in 2025, Richmond is opening a 7,500 open-air amphitheater right along the river with amazing skyline views. With traffic being such a non-issue in Richmond, I think we should also mention some things that are just on the outskirts of Richmond. You have King's Dominion that's only a 25-minute drive away, as well as Busch Gardens, Water Country, and historic Williamsburg. There's the Richmond Zoo and Chesterfield where you can actually feed the giraffes, which is pretty cool. And if you're up for a little longer of a drive, there's Charlottesville and Virginia Beach that are only an hour and a half to 2 hours away. There you'll find the beach and everything that comes along with that, like whale watching tours, deep sea fishing, parasailing, jet skiing, and dining with water views. Or in Charlottesville and the surrounding areas, you have numerous hikes, wineries, and fun events like polo at King Family Winery and steeplechasing at Foxfield Races. Or if you're a lake person, we also have Lake Chesdin and Lake Anna that are really close by. There's also Washington, D.C. that's about 2 hours north with all the major league sports teams, concerts, and even more museums and shopping. So regardless of what you're looking to do, we have something for you. So what's the weather like in Richmond? Richmond actually gets 200 and sunny days, which is slightly higher than the national average. June being considered the sunniest month, it does get pretty humid here unless you're from somewhere even further south and maybe it's less humid than what you're used to. The average high in July is 89, but I would say with the humidity it feels much warmer. And then in January, the average low is 27. So not too hot and not too cold. You really have beautiful weather here in the mornings and beautiful weather in the evenings. And you really just can't beat fall here in Virginia. It is my favorite time of year. With the leaves changing and the cool, crisp nights, but the warmer days, it's really fantastic. On average, we get 11 inches of snow here a year, but being a southern city, even the mention of snow, I will say that you have schools and businesses closing their doors for 24 hours. So if you're looking for snow, Richmond might not be the city for you. But if you're looking for snow days, welcome home. So all in all, the weather here is pretty mild, and in my opinion, the best seasons are spring and fall. So that's been our guide to moving to Richmond, Virginia. If there's something you didn't know about Richmond that now you do, I'd love to hear about it in the comments below. And if you haven't already subscribed to our channel, we're releasing weekly videos on what it's like living here and moving to Richmond, Virginia. So hit that subscribe button and we'll see you on the next video.